Ecovacs has just released their brand new line of smart home vacuums, and they start off with a winner here. This is the Deebot T90 Pro OMNI, which is their mid-range, middle of the line smart home vacuum. And I gotta tell you, right off the bat, wow, you're getting some flagship features here that we've seen from the X series, but more affordable price. So without further ado, let's jump in the video. First off, I do want to let you know they did send this out to me for a full honest review, but this is not sponsored in any other way, as I do not allow any other types of sponsorships on any of my channels. Now, I've been using the T90 for over a month now, and I'm still taking back how many flagship features and specs are in this mid-range smart vacuum. Man, oh man, I'm going to be spitting out a lot of specs. I know that's not probably what you're here for, because you can read that yourself, but I gotta tell you, some of these specs are better than Ecovacs' flagship. For instance, the 30,000 pascals of suction power is the highest ever seen at Ecovacs, and it's more than their flagship models. Plus, it has the mop roller 3.0. So this is going to take their normal mop roller that we've seen before, that's probably about 6 or 7 inches long, and now it goes the full length of the robot. It still also extends out to get the edges, and it's just going to be a better mopping experience just because that mop roller is larger. And we have not seen that in their flagship model, although their newest flagship model hasn't come out this year, so I expect it to be in that one. But from last year, they still had the smaller roller mop. Also, they brought over the True Pass adaptive 4-way climbing system from the X series. So if you have transitions, it will be able to get over minor transitions. And it does quite well, even though I've seen other smart vacuums that can climb higher. This will get over minor transitions that you might have. In addition, another feature that we haven't seen in the X series yet that now is in the mid-range is their Zero Tangle 4.0 system. So before, the 3.0 system was still your regular main brush head, and they kind of had these like little plastic blades that the brush would run through and chop up that hair. But this new Zero Tangle 4.0 is what I've seen in other smart vacuums, and the way they do that is that the main brush head is mounted on one side, and with air and suction, it pulls it all in one direction, where it then gets sucked into the dustbin. So there's no possible way that the hair can get tangled around the brush head, because it's being forced in that one direction, then it falls off the main brush into the suction. In addition, from the X series, they are now bringing over power boost charging. So if you have a larger house, this will kind of GAN charge it or fast charge it when it goes back to empty out the dustbin and clean out the mop and get fresh water. That GAN charging or that fast charging will be able to keep that robot out there longer because of that fast charging, which was in the X series, now is in the T90 Pro OMNI. And now in the mid-range, we also have voice control. The OK Yoko is definitely a great way to send out your robot. If you don't already use something like Lady A, Siri, or your Google Assistant, you can now just talk directly to the robot and it will respond. Plus, you have a lot of the same features built into the base station, like the hot mop washing, the air drying, the auto refill with clean water and dirty water tanks, has now a soap dispenser, which was not in their mid-range last year in the T80, is now in the T90. And the new larger mop still has the mop lifting, so that larger mop roller 3.0 does lift up. So if you do have low or medium pile carpets, it can now lift up to 15 millimeters, so it doesn't get your low and medium carpets wet. If you have high pile carpets, this is, you probably want to avoid carpets altogether, or vacuum them first and then go back and start mopping, and that way they don't transfer any water in high pile carpets. And then you also have the main and side brush lifting. It doesn't have an extendable side brush, which I really wish Ecovacs would bring back that extendable side brush. But if you do have a liquid spill, you can zone mop only a liquid spill, and that will lift up the main brush and side brush, so it will just mop up that liquid. But that is in zone cleaning only. It's not in room cleaning or any other cleaning mode. You have to select the zone and map it out, then it will do a mop only mode. In addition, there's some settings that you can play with that side brush, that if it detects large debris, it will lift up that side brush so it doesn't scatter everything. And when it came to the obstacle avoidance, it did fairly well. Not 100% perfect. It just kind of touched the pencil just a little bit, but avoided everything else altogether. So it did really well in the obstacle avoidance test. And if you're a smart home lover like I am, I use Apple Home, but you can also use Lady A or Google. And this is Matter compatible, so you can bring this into your favorite smart home platform that supports Matter. And you can see here in Apple Home, I can select what room I want to clean, and I can send it out via Apple Home if I want to, or have some type of automation within the Apple Home system, which is really nice to see, and it works quite well. And now that I said a lot of these specs, I gotta tell you, using this for a month, I gotta love this, especially since it's a mid-range, mid-price, but you still have all those features. You can have multiple maps, so if you have a large house with multiple floors, you can map out additional floors, which I do, and take it down to the basement, and it automatically detects that it's on a different floor, and then you can bring it back up, and then it will empty out the dustbin, clean out the mop, and then dry it so it doesn't start growing bacteria or start stinking. And then also, if you do have a sunken living room, like the previous Ecovacs, you can build a ramp, and it does have a ramp feature, and it works quite well. I did an entire video on how to build a ramp and how to use it and map it out. So if you do have a sunken living room like I do, Ecovacs is one just of a handful that can actually use a ramp feature. And when it came to cons, I can't really come up with too many, especially since this is a mid-range and they've packed this thing full of features that I expect in the flagship. So I'm really nitpicking here. I wish it was even more low profile, even though it doesn't have that big LiDAR thing. It has a built-in LiDAR, so it's kind of already profile coming in at 95 millimeters. I do wish it was even thinner, even though there's not that many out there that are much thinner than that. But I'm just coming up with stuff that I kind of wish it kind of had, even though it pretty much has everything that I could possibly ask for. Oh, I know another one that I mentioned earlier. I wish that Ecovacs would bring back the extendable side brush just to get those better corners cleaned. It's not bad now, but I think the corners could be better with an extendable side brush that they had in the X8. Maybe they could have a liftable and extendable side brush. That would be pretty awesome. Yes, it could have the OMNI Cyclone dustbin, but that's going to be their flagship model. I don't mind changing out the bags themselves. It's really convenient for me rather than trying to clean out a permanent thing. That's just me, even though I'm sure there's people that love the OMNI Cyclone technology where, you just open up a bin. That's a great feature to have, but that's not a must-have for me. So I just think this thing is one of my favorite smart vacuums I've tested thus far, and it's only a mid-range. It's not even a flagship. And this might be a first year, might actually be better than a flagship. It's hard to tell because I haven't tested the flagship yet. I've seen some specs on it at CES and IFA, but to be honest, wow, this T90 stacks up there with the flagships, and I can't believe they brought so many great features in their mid-range, and I think you'll be very happy with your purchase, and I don't say that lightly. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, hit that like button. If you guys are brand new here, hit that subscribe button. Truly appreciate it, and I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.